12 pros at the top of their game, competing for points in one of the most unique events in poker. The aim is quite simple: win as many points as possible in the heat stages to secure a top 4 spot in the league and a place at the final table. Fall short and the next 4 players clash heads up for the last 2 seats. Last time, Heat 3 played out and the league started to take shape.
In Heat 1, Premier League newbie Jeff Gross won all the chips, taking down the maximum 14 points. Heat 2 saw Scott Seiver and Jason Kuhn go heads up, both desperate for points after poor finishes in Heat 1. Kuhn took it down and moved to the top of the league. Heat 3 finally cracked when Sorel Mizzi hit a flush on the river to eliminate Phil Laak.
I gotta be ready to hug you.
I deserve to lose. I deserve to lose. Bring it on.
It's feeling clubby.
Ooh!
Oh my God.
That's really...
Canadian star Jonathan Duhamel fell next. Sorel Mizzi steamrollered the table, knocking out Kuhn.
God, these all-ins are just the worst.
Ooh, I call. Oh my God.
Then Selbst.
When it rains, it pours for the Miz.
Then Dan Shack.
I don't want to jinx myself, but the ladies have been doing very well for me.
And finally Colman to take it heads up with Jeff Gross. There was no stopping the Mizzi as he took down maximum points.
Is this it?
This just feels it.
It feels like it's it?
It feels like it's it.
GG, buddy.
Halfway through the league stages, and it's Jeff Gross sitting comfortably at the top of the tree. Mizzi, Kuhn, and Colman make up the rest of the top 4, though Kuhn is the only player to have played 3 heats. The Jungleman, Daniel Cates, Seiver, Duhamel, and defending champ Dan Shack sit in the playoff zone, and Selbst, Esfandiari, and Laak at the bottom need to pick up the pieces and get some points on the board tonight. Our Heat 4 players have arrived, and all the discussion is about points and position. It's a chance for those who got off to a rocky start to notch up some points. One of those in need of a big result tonight is Vanessa Selbst. She's over with Kara.
This is Vanessa's 3rd heat of the Premier League, so you've got a pretty good idea of where your points are and what you need to do. Talk to me about what's going to be happening out there on the table.
I think the 3rd heat is interesting. It starts to get into some of the strategy and the dynamics of who needs to move past who, but it's still also a lot about putting some points on the board and keeping myself in contention. So it really just depends on who finishes where and everything, so it'll be interesting to see it play out.
Playground Poker Club is poised and ready. Nobody wants to leave this table with the bagel, and with 14 points going to the winner, Heat 4 promises more exciting action.
I know, I'm 148.
Heat number 4 is where tactics get a little bit extreme. A couple players are going to have to make some big decisions in this heat. Antonio Esfandiari has only played 1 heat. He's got 5 points. Needs to make a good showing here to put himself in the mix to still make the final table. Of course, Phil Laak, lowest man on the leaderboard right now. It's pretty clear for him. Bagel is nearly the same for him as getting one of the bottom 4 spots. He really has to get a 1st or 2nd finish to stay in this Premier League. Cards are going to be in the air. I'm joined by Brian Rast and the current Premier League leaderboard leader, Jeff Gross. And guys, when you look at this table, anything about the seat draw that strikes you as advantageous or the opposite?
This is a very interesting table. This is now the points are starting to settle in. It's really going to be interesting to see how players they interpret the point situation and what they're going to do. So I think the first maybe 2-3 levels, we're going to be able to tell what people are doing and what their strategy is.
Because some people might come in with low points and really try to gamble instead of move their way up. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see, like, especially Phil Laak, who's very low with 3 points. I mean, he's kind of has to have a big result. Like, he can't really get, like, 5th. Like, that won't do anything for him.
I think Vanessa and Phil Laak are going to be the two most interesting to see their strategy. If Vanessa, I'm curious if she's going to go like yesterday. I think I have a feeling she's going to play a little more aggressive because she tried being tight yesterday a little bit and it didn't work for her, and that's not her game.
See, to me, the people that kind of have the I know
a couple funny guys.
They're the most likely to play conservative would be the people in the middle spots, because if they can, they want to guarantee to at least make the heads-up matches. I feel like, and give themselves a chance to be in a position to make the top 4. So somebody like Duhamel and probably Seiver. I mean, yeah, a bagel here would be pretty disastrous. You know, like they really can't take a chance on that. I would basically put them right back with the people. There's a bunch of people like me. 2 people have 6 after 2, you know, and that would just put them right back there. Having like a 10 or 11 after 3, it'd be pretty tough. They'd be almost out of the running to make the top 4 at that point.
So interesting pot here. Seiver chose to play this pot, use pot control. They both did. And Seiver and Duhamel, of course, right next to each other on the league leaderboard.
Yeah, this could have been a way bigger pot. I mean, even on the turn, picking up a gut shot. Also with the diamonds, and now it looks like it's just going to go. Wow, Seiver's in the bet. He might actually.
Bet 27,000. I mean, does it look like he can have a queen here to Duhamel? Is that? It was a check bet call on the flop, check on the turn, and now Seiver's led the river.
Yeah.
Bill's never really pissed me off.
It's gonna be hard for him to call there.
He's pissed me off occasionally, but not that bad.
It's also in the looking at the points a little deceivingly low is Antonio with 5, but he's the only one who's played 1 match, and deceivingly high is Jason Kuhn, who's got 20 with 3 matches. So that's interesting. Where looking at it, Antonio's really in a decent spot actually. I mean, depending how he finishes today, he's either gonna be in really good shape or really bad shape, most likely.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess Mizzi is.
I feel like there's the thing about the bottom, and that's where I am right now, and it's very important for this because 3 of the 3 people who are also in the bottom and currently would be eliminated are in this, other than me, Vanessa, Antonio, and Bill. It's like.
He said, I think Seiver is, and then I was like,
there's only 4 people that get eliminated.
I mean, you could put Dan Shack.
I mean, Dan Shack's there, but he's not playing today.
Basically, the guys at the bottom want the top. So, Rast, like you're saying with yourself, you want Sorel, Dan Colman, and who else?
But even outside of what I want and what's good for me, it's like, you got to think about this. 4 people are going to be eliminated. So some of those people need to keep on doing poorly. So yeah, Vanessa, Antonio, and Phil will all be interested in the other ones of them doing poorly because ultimately they have to beat them. And so really there's 5 people now who all have 7 points or less. And like you said, it's deceptive because Antonio actually has only played 1 match. But then, so it's going to be a tricky spot where they're all hoping those other people do poorly and trying to inch up above them. But like we said, if Scott or Duhamel bagel this with a 0 or a 1, I mean, they're going to be right with the rest of us.
So we've got a pot here, and it was Duhamel who raised. It's all over.
In like 8 different games. I know.
Jungleman has peeled the flop with the gut wheel draw.
Yeah, he had the backdoor diamonds also. Definitely a flop. He's going to be. These are the kind of hands he likes to get involved with and make these tricky hands. It's a good card for Duhamel. He's not going to be too scared. Unlikely as an ace.
I'll take his
Jungleman's MO is that if you give him an opportunity to bluff, he will seize it with both hands and always get called. That's pretty much been a theme of the Premier League. Is he over? Oh, wow.
I'm actually
kind of shocked.
I mean, you cannot lay down a river bet to the Jungleman, can you?
That's pretty good.
Okay. Miz.
Vanessa Selbst there. She's sitting 2 spots to the left of Antonio Esfandiari. She gains so much by him getting a
I don't want you being humble here.
Feels
I want an honest answer.
When he raises, she's got a lot of reasons to 3-bet.
Well, this is an interesting thing about Premier League is that it's a little bit of a game of chicken because at the same time, I mean, the reverse is true. So if Antonio opens and Vanessa 3-bets him, I mean, he could 4-bet her. And in a sense, I mean, there's a little bit more pressure on Vanessa than Antonio, because Antonio has only one less point, but also one less whole match.
Right. It's a big
So, yeah, I mean, Vanessa does want to take chips from Antonio, and all of the low people would love if Antonio had a bad showing today. But the flip side is that, you know, the same applies for Antonio with Vanessa. So it's a weird game of chicken of like everyone knows it. So who's going to do what? Is anyone going to try to take advantage of that situation? Will they both? You know, it's hard to say what their strategy will be. So I guess we get to see that.
Interesting here, Colman passed up the ace-8 off, which I think I would do, and I think is right. And then you see Vanessa coming in with the king-10 off, and it feels like so I think her strategy she's gonna go after a little more.
Yeah. Which is kind of what I thought she would do a little bit more yesterday early on. Yesterday I expected her to be aggressive for a while and try to build up some chips, but she kind of stayed passive, you know, pretty much the whole way. Although to be fair, yesterday she started off bad and kind of got stuck in that spot.
And do you guys agree there was a general feeling that, you know, on this table perhaps, the people who are most in tune with strategy adjustments to the Premier League are like Seiver and Vanessa, and the ones who are maybe least in tune to it, certainly Jungleman probably doesn't even know how many points he has.
By the way, so this hand, this is interesting because it went flop one check, and they're both going to like this turn. I mean, there's a good chance that Jungleman might actually win this pot because it's going to go bet call here. And then
a queen on a lot of very interesting.
But on a lot of rivers,
leaving an airport, just waking up, landing on like an overnight
like see on this river card, I fully expect if Vanessa checks that Jungleman will bet, and it'll be very difficult for Vanessa.
Vanessa hates this spot, so here she is. She knows she has to have a good result. She's in there with king high off, out of position against a very capable player. I mean, this is not an ideal spot for her.
Not only that, Jungleman kind of checked back the flop. Okay, wow, this will do it.
That's a great little bet, by the way. But she has suffered in the first two heats from making those river bluffs and crippling her stack early. So that was quite gutsy of her to stick with her convictions.
That was impressive. That was definitely like she bets there and gets called, and she's that's gonna send her in a little tailspin. I think for that's different now. I think you're gonna see her open up and feel real confident. That was big. That was a really important pot for her, for this dynamic and in a sit and go to go from 300 to 320, 330 versus 260, 270 is a huge difference in morale and confidence and like how you're gonna attack the game. And I think you're going to see Vanessa do well with that.
I think especially for her position. I mean, I feel like if it was somebody really way up there on the leaderboard, like if you were in this or, you know, Colman, I mean, the difference between 260 and 320 to them is going to feel just more like the chips.
Right.
Someone like Vanessa, who really needs to kind of have a good result, is going to give her a little bit of feel like breathing room to make some plays and play the way that she wants to.
Three players.
Laak has flatted the button here against the Seiver open. And Esfandiari in the big blind as well. Eights are best right now.
Seat 5 check.
Seiver's the kind of guy who has a really good feel for post flop, and I feel like, you know, in this kind of flop, even it's multi-way, like he's going to sniff out. I think he's going to. I have a feeling he's going to continue on here and likely win the spot.
He slips more continuation bet spots than probably anybody in the Premier League. He's very tricky after raising the flop, isn't he?
Like, yeah, no, he's absolutely. Well, Antonio's coming along. This could get a little interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Antonio's got middle pair, backdoor diamonds. I mean, he's a little curious. He definitely wants to see a turn card.
Scott just check folded there.
One of the two best turn cards other than a hitting
raising.
Yeah, once Antonio call. I think if Antonio doesn't call, Seiver's going to come along and love to play a pot with Phil on that board. This is not a spot Laak wants to be in with not a lot of points. Knows Antonio's very capable, and he's just he's kind of shutting down here.
Wow, Antonio makes a flush. So Laak's looking at king high right now.
This is just over. Laak's going to fold 100 out of 100 here, and got a little lucky it wasn't a king of diamonds on the river. That would have been. It would have cost them some.
Feels like a polarizing situation because it doesn't look like the turn and river helped Esfandiari. I mean, he looks like a guy who, you know, was having a one-pair hand, and now he's made the bet.
Crafty veteran versus Grizzly.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, this is just going to. Is that what Phil is thinking to himself?
Phil's thinking of Phil is thinking of repping check, like he maybe checked back, picked up a diamond draw and checked it back, and now he might try to rep this. I'd be very surprised. I think it's a pretty poor thing, but I think he's going to opt against it.
Yeah, me too. I think Phil's going to fold. I think there's mostly posturing.
There are better spots. Is that the idea?
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna have to. If he raises, he's probably gonna do one of his sick raises to like 90 or 110,000. Like, and I think just based on his points, his strategy, like for 8 left, for him to just kamikaze off a third of his stack or something here with king high. I don't think that's in his. Definitely not what he was planning on doing today.
How easy is it for Antonio to call the big raise right now?
He'll definitely call.
100% calling.
Oh, jeez.
64.
This is a disaster. I mean, this and not only the size, it's just he's calling every
Call.
I got the nuts.
You're so hopeless. It's amazing.
I lost that putt.
I'm almost surprised Phil didn't go into a routine that he thought. I thought I had the king 7 of diamonds.
Welcome back to a packed Playground Poker Club here in Montreal, where Heat 4 of the Premier League is picking up pace and the action is living up to expectations. Let's head back to your commentators.
Jungle, I should have called,
This has been an interesting start. Antonio's definitely jumped out to quite the lead right now. He's up over 400.
I mean, and in this exact heat, in this dynamic, having that getting to 400 in like the first 10 hands, it's a super big advantage.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really going to allow Antonio, like, so now he's going to be opening.
Do what his natural thing is to do, which is to put on pressure and pick up chips.
Yeah.
No, I just don't.
Oh, wow. Antonio picked up kings. And by the way, from what we know about Duhamel, does not like to fold pre-flop, so this is going to go 3-bet call, almost for sure.
Raised 15,500 total.
I mean, I can't see Duhamel folding it.
These guys had a lot of history in the last Premier League.
They sure did.
Yeah.
Wow.
Unfortunately for him, I mean, we've seen a lot of, like, I feel like at least 1 or 2 9s have been folded. I mean, Colman had one. I think Kate's had one when we saw his hand.
Now, Vanessa's chipped up a little bit. It looks like she's entertaining the idea of going to a flop or actually maybe putting in a cold 4.
Well, this is a spot. Antonio is a known 3-better, isn't he?
Yes.
Especially on the button to the
she probably knows. I'm sure Vanessa watched stuff last season. I mean, these guys have so much history. I mean, this would definitely, I could see her like, you know, she's saying, I'm not going to just play tight today. Like, these are the spots if I'm going to go for it. Maybe I'm going to try to take this down.
It's a disastrous 4-bet, but the time, I mean, the thought is good, right?
She's doing something, I'm telling you. She's not a player that tank and folds a lot. Wow, she really wanted to. That took all the restraint in the world for her not to.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a spot you could call too. I mean, her hand's good enough to actually call.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's one of those few hands you could flat there.
So you could flat and you could 4-bet it. So, but I mean, it's a good spot too. I think maybe she would have taken it if her points was different, but it looks like Vanessa's sticking with a more solid strategy today as well. I mean, we'll see. But she did it yesterday, and maybe she's not mixing it up too much, because if there was a good spot to 4-bet cold, really, that's one of the better ones. It wouldn't have worked out for her.
One of the worst hands too is for Duhamel's hand for her to have the 10-jack of diamonds.
Oh yeah, no, Duhamel was in big trouble there.
So now
he's going to do what his natural thing is to do, which is to put on pressure and pick up chips. Yeah. And honestly, if Antonio can do that, I mean, he's going to pick his spots. He doesn't have a huge chip lead yet, but if he can keep on chipping up and have a good result here, he'll kind of catapult himself up into sort of contention for the final table.
It comes from the American version.
So here's a hand where if he is down to 270, 260, or around 300, you know, whatever. It's like now it's just like he's opening these 4s and queen jack offs and ace 7s. He's gonna be able to open, right? Because like until he's shown resistance, he has the chips where it doesn't matter if they get popped, he just folds. He still has 400. Like he's in a great spot.
I think 4s he's opening at most any chip stack on this blind level. I don't expect him to be folding.
No, I'm just saying he's like it's just like carefree right now. Like, he's just totally relaxed. It's like whatever. He can come in, and he's the captain right now, and got a kind of gift from Phil.
I kind of expect him to play this. I think he's going to play this against Jungle.
This is slightly unusual for the Jungleman, who almost flats everything from the big blind. He's not a huge 3-bet.
Looks like he's about to knock us.
Yeah, no, he's not out of position. He likes 3-betting in position, but with Antonio in position, he's going to call. We're going to see a flop.
I mean, we saw Jungleman flat aces, we saw him flat kings, all from the big blind.
Now, this is a very interesting flop because it's the type of flop where, you know, Antonio didn't flop a 4, but it's one of the flops he could think his hand is still good.
Right.
And it's the same type of flop where the Jungle's the type of person who might put a lot of pressure on this board too. You know, like there could be at least one barrel here. I mean, this could be a pretty big pot with relatively light hands.
Now, see, and going through Antonio's mind, I think he had the intention of he wants any kind of weird board. He's just going to get away. He's going to try to hit a 4. But now it's like that's why it's kind of tough. So now he's in a spot, and that's relatively a brick too in his mind. So it's like, but he's got 400, right? So he doesn't want to necessarily like now. It's like, all right, am I going to call 27,000 here? And he got what he wanted, so now it's like...
Yeah, now Antonio got exactly what he wants. I mean, you know, he's deciding now whether to check back or make a protection bet. So he decides to check back, and now Antonio's probably pretty sure his hand is good. And my guess is goes check, and Antonio probably will check it back and win, not try to make a value bet on the river.
2-1 check.
Yeah, he's going to check. I think he's going to check.
He'll check it back.
Because Jungle's one of those guys, like against some people he may actually bet just to not show his hand, but Jungle's the kind of guy who would do something crazy and
no,
pop
he's going for a value bet.
Interesting.
So Antonio,
and Jungle is a guy who would do something crazy. He is a guy who would do something crazy.
So I think it's pretty hard for Jungle to call here. The way this hand got played, I think if Antonio had error, especially some of the hands like Jack 10, 10, 8, whatever, hands around the 7, I mean, they would have picked up a straight draw with the 9. So it's very hard for Jungle to believe that Antonio has those hands. If Antonio is bluffing, it almost have to be like he's turning like ace something into a bluff or like king queen.
Could be the payoff wizard right here.
Wow. He's just got it all going for him right now. It's unbelievable. It's a great bet.
POW.
And King of the World, is that what? Yeah.
Seiver says POW, payoff wizard.
Yeah, payoff wizard.
I just can't help this.
Only you, Antonio.
Only me? I'm the squeeze. How can you pay me off?
He's nearly doubled his stack, Esfandiari, and you could almost just say that the chips have been given to him. Does he just win? Does he just win at everything?
He is a good gambler.
He is the most successful tournament poker player of all time, and he's putting his thumbs on this Premier League.
My name is Antonio Esfandiari. I'm a professional poker player. I like to bet on everything, and I'm what you call a full-blown degenerate. Obviously, I think my proudest achievement is probably the 1-drop. I feel as if it was my destiny at that time. It made the cover of newspapers in Israel, so everybody heard about it. It was great. Well, I actually really like the Premier League. I love how the points work, and the whole thing is pretty cool. It's a big buy-in, so there's a chance to win some good money, but you only have to beat 11 other, degenerates. I'd love to have a Premier League title under my belt, They only give away one a year, so that'd be great.
What, Jungle?
I thought you bet turn with that hand.
Nowhere to breathe, nowhere to hide.
You lost one straight anyways.
No room here. Playground Poker Club outside of Montreal, the premier poker club in all of Canada, and perhaps
C3 raise
greater North America.
Both are maybes.
Fold. 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 Fold.
One of the hallmarks of a very good player too is a lot of times very good players, they get other people to play badly against them.
Now this is interesting because Seiver, you see folding the ace-3s or like hands, but now with this is player selective. He's decided he wants to play against Laak, and that's for sure. And you know what I've noticed about Seiver though? He's a great player, and I've watched him in high rollers. That he really is. He takes that to a new level about being player selective. Like I saw him call King 6 off in weird spots where I'm like, wow, why is he doing that? But it's like against Bill Perkins. He goes against the guys he wants to play pots with post flop. So like this would, I think literally he would have folded to every other player here probably.
C2 check.
Yeah, I guess he's decided he has a good beat on Laak's game.
Yeah, not even a read, just like he knows. He's also probably a little bitter about the 7s to ace-4 hand that Laak got lucky on. He knows that Laak is capable of doing unconventional big things that he thinks he's going to make the right read on.
Capable of putting 60,000 in on the river when you've got a flush and he's got king high.
So I mean, Seiver can't have the best hand, and he knows that. He's deciding whether or not to bluff. I mean, there's no way after Laak double checking back.
He might bet, even though it's just such a small pot. But like he knows Laak's like cut short already, and Phil's just Phil the call. I mean,
that's what's called a post-oak bluff type. You bet just kind of small amount, hoping your opponent folds like some better hand. Like I don't really like the bet because it's pretty hard for Phil to have a queen high.
He's getting Phil to fold all his low pairs. He wants Phil to fold like his 7s or 6s or whatever.
I just don't think Phil would there.
I think it's I don't like it. I don't either. It's just there's 13K in the pot only. Like whatever.
If it was a spot where like there were more possible queen high hands or something that maybe you could think would fold to a bet like that, then I like it. But given that ace, king, and 10 out there, it's hard for Phil to have queen high. So and most pairs like 7s are calling. It's almost the same hand as jacks, really.
Suit 7 raise 6,000.
This is the 4th heat. Things are shaping up. People are comfortable with the format. You know, I mean, everybody's off playing different kinds of poker everywhere else, and you come here, and it's a totally different format. People, you know, a little nervous the first couple heats, but now everyone kind of knows what's going on now.
He's obviously not folding. Are there any? Well, okay. Is there anything that would speak to a 3-bet?
So for people who are repeat watchers, they're on the last heat 3. You know, like. There was a discussion about a hand with when Mizzi had a giant chip stack, and like Antonio and I made a pretty big bet about whether Mizzi should have shove or folded when he was on the button. It's like he had 1.2 million and 7-handed, and everyone had like 300K to 100K. And so, you know, players are starting to talk about the format and what people should do with different chip stack situations. And
the person you chose as the referee was Scott Seiver.
We chose Scott Seiver. Yeah, Antonio and I bet on Scott Seiver. I bet that Mizzi should have been shoving any 2 on the button. And my bet was specifically with deuce 3 offsuit.
Right, and you're saying against Dan Shack and Vanessa Selbst, small and big blind, who both had 1 and 0 points coming in their second heat, which is relevant too.
With 1 and 200K each, and you know, I basically bet in that spot that the big stack should just be shoving any 2, essentially deuce 3 in. Scott went in the tank, busted out a little poker calculator, did some work, and 10 minutes later came back and said, shove. So I finally picked off the great Antonio Esfandiari in a prop bet. It feels so good.
It feels like
he's hard to get.
10 times as much.
Oh, yeah. I mean, getting Antonio for like $7,000 is like getting a normal person for 50.
Phil may check here. I mean, he couldn't have got a better flop. And in his mind, I don't know what he thinks Vanessa would call with if he were to bet. Like he may check. I think he could check call. Like ace jack's kind of it was a 3-way pot. Like Phil, I don't know. I'm interested to see if he's going to go for a value here. If he's just going to check call and.
I can't believe he didn't check raise the flop against Vanessa. I mean, this is a spot where give her ace king and let's gamble if you're Phil Laak.
I don't see. That's where I think. I think that's what he's worried about.
Because of the point structure, you know, him right now playing a huge flip against Selbst. It's great for Phil Laak to have a. You know, that's what he wants to do.
Yeah, I mean, Phil's definitely shown he's willing to, more than all the low point people, he's just kind of willing to gamble.
Wouldn't a check raise have just been just a great play against Vanessa here?
Wow,
you know, let's get it in there.
There's a chance he gets called. She could put him on like queen jack, jack king of clubs here.
I think Phil has one thing going for him more than almost anyone else. He's got that like wild card factor.
Yeah, see, she puts him on like jack 10, jack queen, jack king of clubs here.
I mean, no one really knows what Phil Laak is thinking. I mean, people look at him and they're like, what is going on in his brain right now? Like,
he's got the noise-canceling headphones with no music going. I mean, just like...
Yeah, there is not listening to music right now. I guarantee you.
I know he's not either.
It's on there to drown out the ambient noise. So, I mean, people just kind of look at Phil. They have no idea what's going on. And honestly, that's a big advantage for somebody because... You know, Phil knows what he's doing, even if sometimes it's like that hand with Antonio today. I mean, that was kind of a bad bluff. But I mean, it didn't even look like he wanted to bluff. Like it looked sad bluffing. He got picked off. But you know, but like he knows what he's doing. I mean, he knows he's bluffing. He knows he's value betting there. But other people really have no idea. So it makes a lot of people play quite badly against him, which is again, like I said, the hallmark of a good player. You get people to play badly against you because of your style or whatever you're doing, and I mean, it's worth a lot of chips.
I mean, I think that's what Rast said is exactly right. And it's everyone has a style. So like the important part is to know your style and but not even know your own style, but know how you're perceived. So you need to know what other players think of how you're playing and use that to your advantage. That's really important. I think a lot of people lose sight of that.
Hey, we got a hand here. I mean, Colman opened and Mizzi's in position.
Wow,
with
this is interesting too.
These guys
two
have
of the point leaders too. They have 21 and 20 points through 2. These guys are in the premier spot right now. This could get could be interesting.
You illustrated something last heat, Brian. You said that Colman's natural style is to really try and play tight in the first couple levels because he knows he'll have a big edge later on. And
but here's the thing: Colman's done that. We know he's been doing that, and but he's kind of fearless. I mean, we've seen that when he feels like he can take a pot down, he'll do what it takes. So I mean, this is a spot where, given the strength of Colman's hand, I don't expect him to fold, and I could maybe even see him potentially 4-betting Mizzi. His hand might be too strong for that.
He's flatting.
So he's probably flatting.
He's not going to raise, just based on how he doesn't want to play a big pot for sure with 8s, and like he's got good points. He wants to get top 4 here. Top 4 is a huge result for him.
I'm going to try and play
he's just going to call.
Yeah, I think he might be more likely to fold than 4-betting.
No. He's not folding. That one he's not doing.
Even though Mizzi, I like Mizzi's sizing. His size is a little big.
There's too much value in the pot.
Yeah, I could see him folding or flatting. Yeah.
You're right. I'm wrong. Glad we didn't bet.
Colman's sneaky tight. Like he picks spots and he plays very solid though.
The Party Poker Premier League continues as a competition for points here, and Heat 4 gets interesting. We don't want to miss the action, so let's get back to the table.
Everybody seems to have come here ready to play today, though. There's a nice energy.
I mean, I think everybody's kind of feeling settled in. Now it's been, 3 heats. This is the 4th heat. Everybody's off playing different kinds of poker everywhere else, and you come here, and it's a totally different format. People are, a little nervous.
It's nice
but now everyone kind of knows what's going on.
It's alive right now. Hurry, kid, hurry.
Well, Vanessa hasn't looked at her cards yet. Well, her face is going to light up when she sees the kings.
You're good looking and young enough.
Yes, she definitely would love to get some action with these.
You know? You've got the talent. What are you talking about?
7 raised 6,000.
Unfortunately, this isn't the way the Premier League has been playing. Even though this isn't like really that deep of 150 big blinds, people have been playing kind of conservative enough in these opening levels. You don't really want to get your kings and aces right now, to be honest, because no one's really like. There are some 3-bets, but no one's really 4-betting much, and people are kind of just trying to see what happens as it develops.
And she got him in a pretty bad spot here. Yeah. So under the gun, she's against Jungleman, who plays really well, like has a really good read post flop at least. And I mean, he's capable of making some bluffs, but I mean, he's got a really nice hand. He's got one of the few hands actually other than the ace you don't want to see versus kings, but that's not too much on the flop.
It's a good point, though. I don't think you just say very many big pots have been won with aces and kings in the first 2 levels.
Yeah, and I think they've been lost. You see Dan Sheck going out for a bagel in his first heat with the aces.
And it's not that you don't want aces or kings. It's just that as the blinds get bigger and you start getting to the, like say the 6K, 12K level.
This flop went check, bet, call. Selbst slipping it, and look at this turn card.
Wow. She thinks she has the best hand, but I don't think she wants to play a huge pot.
I mean, she should definitely check again here. I do not like a bet.
And what is the reasoning behind the bet?
I mean, the reasoning would be that
7-bet, 22,000.
I mean, her hand's pretty disguised. That she doesn't have a good hand of a set, so it would be to charge draws and also potentially get Jungleman to try to make a play. But I just don't think Jungleman's going to make as many plays as she thinks. Like, for example, he's not raising with a flush draw here. And I actually kind of like check raising her hand there and the way that she played it.
This could be ugly. Oh.
No.
And the reason you say that, I mean, Jungleman is the kind of guy, if he did have 7s or 8s,
she's gonna
he
check.
would have fired the second bullet.
I think she's going to check here. because she puts him on a missed. I think she puts him on a missed draw. There's so many missed draws. The ace fives, the ace threes, the spades, something like the backdoor diamonds probably aren't in her mind. But like I think she's going to put him on a missed hand. The only reason she might bet is if she thinks she has like a jack high spade combination, he might pay a value bet. So I think she's going to she's debating like a value bet or a check.
So this is what I think the best play is. I think without a doubt the best play is for her to check raise.
That's what
because
I
if
think
she's
so
going to
too.
have a check raise range the way she played this hand is like the hand that should be in it. It's like kind of the top. It's basically the best hand possible other than 5-3.
She's going to bet though. She's taking too long.
Check raise.
She's not checking.
Check raise does exactly what you said and gets him to bluff with his missed draws, but then gets value if he happens to have some kind of weird value hand. It gets an extra big bet. So see,
44.
Yeah, she knows she should have
Better river than that.
Huh?
You need a better river for you to represent.
Dejected, but she should be feeling quite good. Her stack is well above 300K.
These are those pots that matter so much. You know, you put a jack of diamonds on the river there, and like, and it just she's gonna lose a big pot. And like now it's not a big pot win, but it's a pretty good result, I think, overall there.
Somebody who I loved the way he played a lot of his big hands yesterday was Mizzi. I mean, Mizzi made a lot of big hands, but he really played them well and got a lot of value. And it's important because when you have your big hands, I mean, that's when, you know, you really need to get the most out of them. And I think the turn for her, what do you think, Jeff? I mean, I think it's pretty close whether you check or bet. I can see good reasons for both of them. But given that she check-called flop bet turn, I really like check raise
The board, like,
on river.
unless he has a jack,
it's hard for
I
him.
think you're just not going to get paid ever. And I think Jungle is
have a lot of bluffs.
He's bluffing. He's not checking back. And he misses turns it, picks up that draw. How the hand was played, he's going to fire at it.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to have a lot of draws, and he's not calling them. He might bluff them. And, you know, if he has a value bet hand, he could very easily value bet it as well. If he happens to have a king or somehow hit the jack, you know, he might value bet a hand like ace, jack, spades.
Heads up.
Button open from Antonio and Selbst defending.
Yeah, so Antonio's got a nice button game going now. He knows he's got two very strong players in the blinds, and you got the queen-6 open, no problem. Now he's got the ace-deuce off, and he's got Vanessa not 3-betting but flatting. And he's probably, you know, it's just he's just had really good timing and really good start so far today.
This is a spot where people go either way with checking back and c-betting, but I tend to find Antonio likes c-betting in these spots. So.
It's actually kind of bad. It is a bad flop for Antonio in some ways. I mean, it's pretty connected with Vanessa. I would imagine her flatting all like 8-9 through king 10, stuff like that, queen jacks, jack 10s. So
Vanessa doesn't want to get involved out of position.
No, she's not. I mean, that board she's just not continuing. I would actually.
It's a spot where I think some people might check call float, but I feel like, you know, she's probably going to give Antonio some respect. Antonio has a lot of chips, and she doesn't want to. Some people who would be a little more predictable, you might try check call, then either bet turn or river or something, trying to win the pot somehow. But I mean, Antonio's the type of person who could just double barrel a lot. And, you know, you start getting in trouble. Like I had a hand on day one where I was actually in position. And I floated Antonio in a spot where I thought he was light. I think I had 3-4 and he had ace-queen, and it was 10-7-6. You were in this pot. And, I mean, I was pretty sure when you checked you were giving up.
I had king jack of diamonds, right?
And Antonio bet, and I called, and I assumed, so part of my call, I'm assuming Antonio was going to check fold a decent amount on turns. A 10 hit, and Antonio bet again. And, you know, I now have 4 high, and I kind of just have to fold. So Laak under the gun with a big
If he
hand.
raises this, I want to root for Laak. It would actually be best for me personally if he were to win, but I want to root for him anyway. I can't root for this. This is not correct. And this is like some of the best players in the world. You're going under the gun with the least points with the 6 high.
And Jonathan Duhamel straight on it with the 3-bet.
Oh, wow. Antonio's not folding this. There's not a world where he's folding this right now. But he might just call it. Because it's a pretty strong play. Under the gun open, under the gun +1, 3-bet. So Antonio's probably more than happy just to call. It also helps that his hand is suited, which makes it even nicer. 10% of the time when you have a suited hand, you flop a flush draw or better.
And he knows that Duhamel is frisky. He's actually, I think he's ace-king isn't the hand you generally like to trap with. It's tricky a little bit, but like he knows he could actually have him probably ace-queen, king, queen,
like what he has.
King, jack, like dominated. So it's and he's got position.
Also, isn't there the overall thing where Phil Laak probably has many more reasons to play a big pot than Antonio does right now?
Phil flats, I'm just giving up.
Oh, Phil's definitely flatting this.
I know, but I mean, this is like, if anything, he should be saying, you know what, I probably shouldn't open, like, get away.
I think especially with Antonio cold calling this, I think Phil's going to be a little nervous about that.
He could
making a move.
He could 4-bet here.
I mean, Phil's always a person, but I don't think he will in this spot because he's got to put Antonio on a pretty strong hand, if not Duhamel. So I think Phil's just going to call. He's getting a very good price, like 9K to win 30. Well,
no, Phil's a guy who's he's got the under the gun range.
I mean, there is a line of thought here, isn't there? Where like Phil Laak, he should be less scared of big pots than the others.
I didn't think Phil would do it because I think it's bad, but I do not like this play. I think between Duhamel's under the gun plus 1 3-bet and Antonio's cold call, which by the way, Antonio, he always has a pretty big hand here. I mean, Antonio always has like a decent pair, like ace king, ace queens. I mean, and against a range like that, I'm not like looking to 4-bet. I would be very happy calling and seeing a flop.
I'll tell you, Phil's not calling. I think he's going to 4-bet or fold, and obviously it looks like he's 4-betting, but he does do this stuff. He does inventory.
Oh, I do not think Phil will fold. I do not think he will fold. I'll bet you that he. Let's say.
I kind of think it's a nice 4-bet. No?
How about this? You can have.
Antonio's not shoving. There's no way Antonio's shoving.
How about this? I'll bet that he doesn't fold. I'll lay 1.5 to 1. Oh. Nope, too late.
C3 re-range.
Hold on. That's a good one. That's very rare.
Phil just walked into a trap here. And
Really? You think Antonio's going to shove here?
No way Antonio's
or shipping
folding ace king of hearts.
Right, but Phil's going to have the betting lead, and I mean, it's not.
You know the sickest part about this?
Antonio really can't afford to gamble here, and Phil kind of can.
Antonio actually can afford to gamble, and in fact, the beautiful thing about this is Phil's the one that has 3 points. Antonio can easily move all in here, and I mean,
not really though. Antonio does not want to have 5 points through 2 heats, even though he's chipped. And for another reason, he's never folding is he has 500,000.
Yes, he just.
I mean, if somehow Laak has a hand and gets
and he loses, he still got 200.
And like
Antonio is going to put Phil all in.
Wow, Duhamel flatted!
Oh my
That's
God!
got to be terrible.
This is
That's got to be
Antonio
terrible.
might let it. This is
Well,
not,
Antonio is not letting this go.
now.
He's not letting it go.
Maybe
But I'll
if
tell
he
you
had
what, he's worried
300.
about Duhamel now. This is a weird. This is very
Duhamel
weird
shouldn't
action.
really have a flatting range
I
there,
do not
should
like
he?
the flat.
No, this
I mean,
is-
this
Not
is
with
like,
based on the Premier League and stuff. He really, I mean, his flatting range should be like aces here,
No,
maybe.
Duhamel should have either shoved or folded. I think he should have folded.
C5 re-raise all in.
See?
Well, but that was definitely, that was Duhamel based, right? No?
I mean, Antonio just made a read that, and Duhamel, I guess he was sitting there long enough, and Antonio got a vibe, got a feeling that Duhamel really wasn't sure what to do.
Oh, Phil, save us some time. Put it in the muck.
Phil, here's the thing. Everyone's going to find out what you have sooner or later, so yeah, good job.
Duhamel wants to jump. Duhamel can't believe
Antonio, by the way, is sitting there going, how bad is everybody playing right now? I mean, everybody is just giving me their chips.
He's yet to six. Antonio's doubled up without doubling up in the first 10 hands.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about
21 hands.
They did a full orbit?
They did a full.
Right, he's just, and
first
they've just given him money.
No, this is pretty absurd. I mean, he was literally just given money there.
With Antonio's stack and Laak's need for points, these two are sure to tangle, despite being the best of buddies.
Phil Laak is a special one. It hurts to say, but I really do love him.
He's a smart guy. He's hungry. But I love bluffing him too. Oh my Lord, this is so sick.
Wow, you're so sick.
My first World Series of Poker, I met him in 2000, and it was his first World Series of Poker too. And we started running together right out of the gate.
Are you kidding me?
Phil Laak is great. He's one of a kind. The guy's really, he's lost his mind.
This is a standard fold. Phil has lost his mind.
Oh, he plays so bad.
There's some sort of deep underlying method to his madness. I don't know how he does what he does, but he's been doing it for many years, and he does it well, and he does it successfully.
I'm the worst. Bluffing your good buddies is like the greatest feeling ever. This is a big one. We all dodged the pain, huh? I'm 100%.
It never ends.
It's like one of the wonders of the world. How does Phil Laak continue to win? I don't know, but he does it. So he's got something figured out.
I'm gonna hydrate.
Antonio and Phil. Now these guys have probably the most history of any two people on the table. They've been playing cards for like 10 years. Antonio, just to give a little history, Phil was, you know, in New York, scene, whatever. Antonio invited him, told him the games were really good out in the Bay Area, and twisted Phil's arm after they had not known each other for that long to come out, live in the Bay Area with him and play poker. And they lived together for a while. So I mean, this is, you know, 10 years ago or more. So these guys have been good friends and known each other and playing cards since the dawn of time.
Can I have a pen and paper real quick? A little pen and paper.
Wow, Jungleman just
anything to write on a
ace
little
jack
piece of pen.
offsuit in position to Phil's under. So other people are calling Phil with 10-8 and jack-8, and now Philman raises and Jungle folds is the ace jack.
I think everyone can agree they're the two most interesting minds at the table. So like maybe he's just like, I can't go against another.
Check this out. Seiver is just going
mind.
to whack him now. He's just going to whack him.
Well, Phil doesn't have anything, luckily, but Phil's ready to blast off.
I mean, he just opened 6-4 suited and 4-bet it, and then the next hand he opens King-3 suited under the gun.
I think oh man,
Phil has decided it's win or bust. Right. I mean, it looks like that's his strategy.
But is there an argument that Phil's best chance in this heat was to take the 27% offered by the all-in against the ace-king?
C2 check.
It's kind of looking that way right now. I mean, you know, Phil is. It looks like his strategy. Literally, wow, bad card for Phil. He's probably going to pay off a river bet now.
What if should Seiver just go animal here?
Seiver's going to bet because he thinks Phil like check back to ace king, ace queen with one club.
So or like the
he
jack.
might bet big.
What's in the pot? Like maybe 30K. Yeah. Seiver's going to make just like a decent bet. Yeah, there we go. 20. Something that he expects Phil to call with like a good 2-pair. Like jacks, a king, maybe
Phil
even like ace-9.
Phil will be calling. Phil's going to have 175K after this hand.
Yeah, I think Phil's probably going to pay this one off.
Can you push the pot flat and short?
That's the classic. I'm calling, but like let me do a little math or whatever. I mean, it's the worst river card in the deck for him.
Yeah.
Even the king of clubs, he'd fold probably. I mean, yeah, he got one of the 2 kings that he's gonna get good action on.
Yeah, another really bad card would have been like a 9.
He also doesn't probably want to really turn his hand over here, but granted, everyone knows that he's just playing whatever anyway.
Is there anyone in any land who would kick Phil Laak out of any game?
The reason why I laughed is I got to the part where I know I'm 100% never raising. I got to that and I realized, okay, Phil, you're okay letting the world and Scott know that. Now I'm in my own little...
Listen, I understand that Phil's strategy is to gamble and try to win, but I mean, that doesn't mean at an 8-handed table you can try to win every hand. I mean, you still have to pick your spots.
I was bluffing, but now I guess I'm just going to get punished for bluffing or rewarded for being lucky. One of the two. I don't know.
Call. I got a flush.
Punish for punish.
Wow, Phil is... This is...
Good call.
Phil needs to walk outside real fast, take a fresh
air. Getting lucky.
Phil Laak, 187,000, and it's all.
Okay, so I'm gonna say $400. Phil.
First level in the books, guys, and I mean, Phil Laak. We've seen what's happened. What's happened to Duhamel? He's doing terrible.
Wow. I think Phil and Jonathan tied for the worst level there, and their chips reflect that.
More from Premier League Season 7 after the break.
Coming in hot, kid.
Sorel, you guys deserve to lose because Antonio's such a huge fish there.
I hadn't decided about that river yet.
That's why people love poker.
Welcome back to the Playground Poker Club in Montreal, where Season 7 of the Premier League continues. This is Heat 4.
The Playground Poker Club is a busy backdrop for the Premier League. Lines just going up here and still a full table. There's the points up for grabs. 14 to the winner, right down to the bagel for getting knocked out first. Bottom 3 in the league all in action in this heat. That's Selbst, Esfandiari, and Laak. And if they don't notch up big points tonight, their chance of qualifying for the final table could be squandered. Esfandiari nearly twice as many chips as anyone else. And with a game in hand over the other players, this is a real opportunity for him to jump right up the table.
And here's Antonio. Now he's got the chips. He's going to be able to open comfortably the queen jacks, the jack tens. Like
we could be a repeat of the Sorel Mizzi.
It feels that way. It really does. Like I could see him having the whole table just handcuffed, praying for points by
absolutely
in an hour from now. This
that
level
game in hand is valuable right now.
So I'm going to say a few things about this thing. So first, Antonio, if there's anybody that knows how to put pressure on, it's him. He just does it all the time.
Right.
I mean, he's one of the people most likely. If you were going to pick one person who on day one of a tournament is like most likely to be one of the chip leaders, it's really him. I mean, he just knows once he gets chips just how to be a maniac.
And pressure doesn't bother him. You told him he did it in the one drop.
Yeah.
He did it with an $18 million first prize.
Yeah. So I mean, this is 125K. So I mean, he knows how to put pressure on, and especially pre-flop. It's one of his strengths. And the second thing too is if he didn't realize some of the Premier League point things, we just resolved the bet. Yeah, where he lost on Scott Seiver's opinion about what to do, what Mizzi should have done with 1.2 million chips. Right. So if Antonio didn't know how sick you should be, now he definitely knows.
Right, he now had a wizard tell him.
Oh, we're going to see fire.
Yeah, we'll just get some money in.
But like, again, he's like in there with the 5 high flush, so you see he's oversuited, which happens in multi-way pots when you play these super garbage hands. I mean,
this is not a horrible spot for Phil to gamble a little bit.
Oh no, Phil is not folding the flop. That is a 100%. And neither is Seiver. I mean, this could be bet, call. Who knows?
Phil might ship this. I can see Phil shipping this.
I mean, there are some benefits to the ship.
Snap ship.
There we go. Now that's the game.
No, I actually think Seiver, there's a very good chance Seiver will call here.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't cover.
No, well, also because
just because of how Phil's been playing.
And Phil's in the big blind. He's flatting. It looks like there's so many draws. And Seiver hates this. He knows he has the best hand, and he does not want to put in 200,000 of his stack.
I think points-wise,
it's going to be close.
He has to fold if Phil shows him his cards.
Oh yeah, here he goes to the points.
That's what I mean. I think he has to fold if Phil shows him his cards.
Yeah, how does the point standings look for us? How am I doing? I'm not doing too good, am I?
Me neither, though.
11.
By the way, if you can wait for a costume change, I actually have it prepared. Coming in hot, kid. Coming in hot.
Phil said it's going a little bit hot. He said he was going to wear the. He said he was going to wear the goggles from the start. I think he wishes he had. We'll see these for the rest of the day.
No, because I get change on that.
Oh, he gets changed?
Seiver is folding,
by the way. What kind of outrage is this? Yeah, I want a floor. Is this correct?
Yeah, so I get 1,500 change. That's what 1,500. I'm folding. Give me 1,500.
Fold. Yeah, 13.5.
And when he said I folded, that's binding, even though
it is binding. Yeah.
And that's the sharp edge that Phil can have in this
the verbal power.
This is going to check call the deal on Antonio.
That's what people play poker for.
For sure.
I'm telling you, Joel, that's why people love poker. What I just lived was like that kind of amusement ride. This is like something beautiful, you know? It delivers to the very reptilian beauty of just living.
I can't call the ocean.
If such a thing existed.
I can't call the ocean.
That's a tough street. That's a really tough
Look at him. He's got a little pep in his step. This is the Phil we know and love. He's happy. He's having fun. He's skiing indoors. He's got his whole routine going.
Hold on.
Yeah. Phil plays better when he's being insane.
Yeah.
When he's sitting there being quiet, I don't know. He has too much time to think about what to do.
Yeah.
Jesse, there was literally the first heat we watched. There was a time where there was about a 20-minute period where he won pretty much every pot, and every hand, everyone was looking at him the whole time. They were just fascinated.
He is one of the great table captains.
You're looking to hedge off.
Phil Laak is woken up. I mean, the thing is, he can be like this without gifting 100,000 every time, but he likes to give 100 away and then like get going. I don't know.
I mean, he needs to get everybody some kind of handicap.
Yeah, he does a little advertising. He could do it.
Wanted to fish it up a little bit, and now he's ready to play.
Okay. 11 to 1,000.
All right, Buck.
Were they betting on what Phil had?
All right, so Antonio not running over the table with ace-jack.
Cates is down to 189. I didn't realize he's having a kind of disaster too.
1.5 to 1. I just got.
Well, how much can I bet it regular?
It is the thing about Daniel, which is that he just plays poker. You know what I mean? And there's probably a lot of reasons. I wonder if he shouldn't really be
definitely giving you some kind of minimum bet.
Jungleman is his demeanor at the table is amazing. He really does wear his like emotions on his sleeve, and it's like here you go. And all of a sudden he's just putting in a really light 3-bet, and he looks super serious. He's a fun guy to play with.
It's probably wrong. I just noticed it.
Don't you think this is just down to the fact that Antonio beat me in a pot and now I'm going to own him back? I mean, don't you think, like, isn't he on that level sometimes, the Jungleman? You know what I mean?
Level 1.
No, this is an awkward spot for Antonio. This is a hand where like it's a border open under the gun with his stack. It's a no-brainer, I think, and how the table's going. But like this is a spot where I think you have to be willing to open and just not give in to resistance, because maybe you have the best hand, but like there's not a lot of flops. He's
Here's
going
the
to enjoy
thing
seeing
about Antonio is that Antonio, he knows jungles, definitely 3-bets light in position. And if Antonio feels like he has the best hand or feels like the other person's messing around, he's more than willing to go to war.
But
and I mean, I've seen him, and you know what, Ace Jack, it's not a great hand, but I mean, it's not a bad hand.
I think he's going to fold better fold. I don't think he's calling.
Yeah, he is probably not calling this. He's probably thinking all in or fold.
I don't think he's going to go all in. I think he's going to make it.
I mean, Jungleman only he doesn't even have 190,000.
Right, so he can, but like it's a perfect spot to 4-bet because he cannot continue. If he just, I don't like that.
He takes the third option, you will see a flop.
I have made plays like this before. I think I flatted with Ace Jack suited to a 3-bet.
He's Ace Jack day one. It's just not a good. I just don't like this. And he hit the gin of gin flops.
He just wins. He just wins.
So Antonio now is thinking, wow.
He's like, please have Ace King, please have Ace Queen. Don't have like one of the hands I thought you had, which is garbage.
So overall, best way to build the big pot, check raise here or check call?
He's definitely checking.
He's leading, I think.
But aren't there so many cards that can be action killers on the turn that you need to build the pot now?
Well, I mean,
a 7 would be a.
I think Antonio will probably lead now. I mean, jungle check back. Antonio's going to hope that he has some kind of call down hand like kings, queens, or a bad ace he check back or something.
Yeah, there's
he wants to get value out of his
spades
hand.
out there. There's king, queen. There's Jungleman. Also, with having such a wide range, like there are some scary cards for him.
Yeah, there's like some. Antonio wants to charge
Broadway cards. He doesn't want to see Broadway. He doesn't want to see a queen or king. That's for sure.
33,000
in his mind.
That's clearly not true.
These are true statements.
Fold.
It's important to bring the.
So jungle.
Okay, so are all side bets down?
I'm definitely okay with how jungle.
I already done with.
I made a move with a 3-bet, assuming probably correctly Antonio was going to open pretty wide. Correctly got away from his hand.
Well, what? I guess. What? I want to take it under the next one.
I just want to see someone's lead.
Like, is 7,000 on the table? I just want to know.
This heat will be better off with a little bit of Phil Laak.
He wants to know your max bet. Why don't you do like this?
You whisper your highest number.
Yeah, whisper your max number. That's a fair way to do it.
And whatever it
Like a pretty girl at a cash game or something. You sit down. You don't get it very often when you do. You know, like you don't want to see her go.
Okay, he whispered his max bet to me.
Okay, so now I can just say my number.
You can just say yours out loud. It locked in.
11,000. Oh.
That's for sure the fair way to do it.
Oh wow, Selbst with a big hand, ace, king of clubs.
This is a big hand for her, but also one of those ones where it's like, you know, yesterday me and her played the ace, king, the queen. She doesn't want to be racing. What hands are getting in? It's like queens.
Don't you think it's... Okay.
All right, you can have 7,000.
Oh, he calls.
Okay, you guys will be betting 7,000.
Phil decides to see a flop.
Wow, I love this. Someone's going to get hurt.
I set up to 20,000.
By the way, I kind of like your size. I do.
There's no way your number's not
Decent flop for Selbst with top pair, top picker, although, I mean, she can't
I think it's close. I think her number's like 22.
But it's got to be like 2,000. Against Phil, she's going to take her chances by not folding at any point.
Let me bet it with Phil if I can, just because I already have a bet with him, so I don't have to pay multiples.
I would like. Wait, Dan, what side are you on? Under? Over.
24,000.
Jeez, Phil Laak has led 24K at this.
You know what I mean? John's going to be like, put the suit on.
Yeah, Vanessa with a nice
He's not going to look at the price until he
If she had... No, he was in position. Vanessa, if she had bet her hand, Phil almost definitely would have folded. She's getting max value out of 2-5 right
a
now.
diamond, Phil could win this
This one we
hand.
can ask right now. This one we can ask right now.
Now, see, this is a bad card for Vanessa.
No,
is Phil
check.
willing to bluff?
No, that doesn't
Is Phil willing to bluff? Yes. I
Okay, John,
fully
what's the most
expect
good
Phil
pursuit?
to bet this.
Maybe
Phil has a bunch of heart in these spots.
Whoa.
I said maybe.
Oh, he's gonna go
Is it
small.
over or under the line?
Is it,
I think it's like.
would you guess over or under the line?
So here's another thing though that
37.5.
Vanessa
Well, they've
needs
done
to
all
think
that,
about,
so-
and this is it. If she had bet the flop
Slide
and he
under, you
called her,
think?
it would be a different situation because for him to call a bet on flop, it's much more likely as a diamond. But by her checking the flop, that keeps his range much more open. He could bet any hand, like the one he has, which is like nothing.
So she's
You know?
played this in a very
So-
high variance way.
Oh,
So Phil can hang
37.5.
himself.
I think it's a great
So she,
line.
I guess she has figured this out, that because she checked the flop and he bet, he is a lot more likely to not have a diamond in
Coleman
his
thinks the line
hand.
should be 4K.
So, and this is another scary card.
Yeah, now it's like Phil, any mid pair that he just has.
Three and a half to one.
But here's the thing, it's in a way this doesn't necessarily make it harder for her to call because he still feels repping like say at least the 10 of diamonds, probably jack of diamonds plus.
2501.
In fact, I think Vanessa would probably be more worried that she loses if Phil checks back in a way.
He has to man up and go all in to win this pot.
Who knows what Phil's going to do? I don't want to predict what Phil Laak is going to do.
I think he's going to go big bet, not all in. He'll leave himself some chips if somehow he gets.
Oh, he checks it back.
No, the 2500 should be my win.
Nice hand. That was nicely played.
Very nice by Vanessa.
Yeah,
Very nice.
She's playing a stormer right now.
2500, I get the front shoe as hard as I
Vanessa knows she needs a big result in this, her penultimate heat, or she's going to struggle to even make the heads-up spots. It's looking good for her. In second place.
My name is Vanessa Selbst. I'm 29 years old and I'm recently married as of a couple months ago. So the first time I played Premier League Poker was in Premier League Poker VII, which took place about a year and a half ago in Vienna. Oh God, come on. You gotta stand up for yourself, you know, in this world. Wow. I went into the fourth heat pretty low in points and I had to win that heat in order to be able to advance. And I ended up second and I didn't move on. So it was a really energizing and exciting experience. I really proved to myself what I'm capable of and I'm just so excited to be here for Premier League Poker VII. I'm looking forward to my shot at redemption and I definitely expect to be moving on to the final table this time.
Vanessa Selbst is ready to wipe away the memories of Season 5. It's head down now and plow on to pick up those points. It was a painful time in Vienna for her, but now she's feeling in tune with the format and knows what she needs to do.
And then it's like, whatever, I could be protecting myself or costing me money. I really don't care. I'm just trying to make a bet that
Once
fun.
I say fold, it's your
I don't know. I really don't know what suits cost.
more?
I told her if the order fill was 20K, but it's like whatever. That was a different time. Now all these people have different opinions. I'm like thinking,
So we're on for
That is 10,000.
a little careful.
Will he get any customers?
Well, now, well, I don't know.
Phil might just. Phil's liable to just ship it in. Like he's
Call
any
10,000.
flats.
Phil has only.
Call 10,000.
I think based on his play so far, this is a good call.
I disagree. He's just. I mean, he's got 160,000 only now. He's putting in, you know, like 7.5% of his chips with 4 high.
Yeah, but he needs to find a
Action's
spot where he
done?
can get in there
He
with
only
like
has 40
Wait,
bigs.
hold on, make sure the action's all done.
50% equity.
Is the action all done?
That 5
There
where
we
it
go.
got in.
Here's your chance, Phil.
Check.
There's going to be a lot of excitement.
Make a 3. I
How
just
much
think,
is being bet? You
you
have
know what?
7,000 with
I don't
that.
hate
What's the
playing
other
the hand like 4 deuce. I just think you need to have more chips. Like if you want to gamble it up, like Phil needs at least like 250 or something.
Seiver's got a bet. There's too many people in the pot. Oh my goodness. I mean, snap call, gut shot. Are you kidding me?
This just feels like it's better than 10% that he hits a 3, but
it's like
definitely 22. Oh my God!
What's going on? Seiver's gonna do an ambulance.
Yes,
I can't
ambulance
believe
is
it.
the right word.
I cannot.
Ambulance is the right word.
Oh my God!
He's check raising.
Of course he is.
I'm just like, damn. I wish I could have been in this though.
Don't check back. Phil.
No, he's not. He's never checking back.
That's true.
Well, I guess with a different line.
Never checking back.
This is a total brick in Seiver's mind. 98.8% of the time. There's like a 1.2.
Total brick.
It is.
Seiver is going to be literally shocked to see that Phil has the 4 deuce.
There's zero. It's a 0%
chance
It doesn't
in
even come
Seiver's
into his
mind.
range.
Wow.
He knows it's.
He's bet 15 into 80. This is even great.
This is brilliant.
I mean, I think Seiver's probably going to raise.
This is amazing.
He'll probably make it like 50,000.
This is honestly amazing.
Wow, did I just drill it?
Raise to 50,000.
Yeah.
He should snap it in, but he's not. By the way, Phil thinks he's got this 100% Stone Lock. Oh, he's giving him the full treatment. You know, we saw this happen with Jason Kuhn, and
the board doesn't pair. Not today.
Yeah, not today. This is Laak's day.
This is why I thought Phil was going to get a 3. I mean, it just how is the universe not going to conspire to work out for Phil Laak?
Oh my God!
Oh, he calls.
All right. There's a chance like a 4 or a deuce come or
no. By the way, there's no way that Seiver's not going to bet the river on a club or anything. It's just going in. They just don't have enough. Phil has less than 100K. There's 180 in the pot. There's no way the river's not getting all in on any river card.
By the way, that's I mean, Laak only has 81K. Yeah, he's gonna
today.
Holy Seiver's going to bet all in.
He's going to shoot off like a rocket, isn't he?
Oh man!
I mean, we're going to see a test of his control.
He's going to say all in very quietly.
I'm all in.
Player 2's all in. Call.
Look at
him show it like happy. Oh, there it is. The oh Jesus.
Oh my God.
Going on.
He feels like he feels like, I mean, if he was in a skating rink in New Orleans, he would be sure he was being cheated.
Yeah.
Holy cow!
Oh,
he's still trying to work it out.
I thought you would think that I'd be kind of an idiot.
What happened?
He is trying to figure out.
What?
Right now, he's saying to himself, how can Phil Laak have 4 deuce?
He's trying to work it out. He bet 17,000 on the flop after raising 10,000
like, yeah, of course I had the 4 deuce.
He's got overstarting stack. Check this out. And Seiver's on the bottom. And if Scott Seiver bagels here, it's going to be a disaster.
Welcome back. The points permutations are making for an interesting heat here at the Premier League as nobody wants the bagel. Let's get back to the action.
You have the right idea.
The maximum amount that Vanessa thinks Jungleman would spend on a suit.
How much? Like that's not an unreasonable amount.
I saved myself because you were cautious.
18,500, I believe, was the line, and her answer was 8.
Numbers add up.
Oh, okay.
I can't believe she said 8,000. I like the other side.
Numbers add up. I've got the numbers here.
I wanted another one, but it feels like I'm just getting crushed every time. I've just been wrong.
So who was under and who was over?
On like 3 or 4 of these things.
They were over and Phil was under.
Hey,
Phil
you want to know
lost
6
all the
stats?
bets.
I did the worst.
and
I did the
that's- I
worst
would've
of
liked
anyone
under.
that made money
I would've
by
liked
only
betting on
making
under.
$1,700 on that
She said
$200
$8,000.
question.
Yeah.
And I did the worst.
You know what? That
Plus,
doesn't
I
make
lost
me
the
feel nearly
stat.
as bad. I lost $800.
I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
As Jungleman said with the real.
Plus, I mean,
If I had heard him sweating, I might have changed my answer, but I heard more of the. Once you said like, how much can I lose max, and I was like,
Yeah, and you can get a very nice suit for like 5,000.
No, Antonio only means 12.
You can get more than a nice suit.
Yeah.
You can get,
so someone made less than that. No, because he made 7K on the side that they already paid. Antonio made 8,200.
8,500.
Antonio just made 8,200 on that proposition.
Yeah, he's
Don't
the
you love
best
the
at a
fact
lot of
that,
things. He's the best.
that Phil Laak and Antonio can't have a bet anymore without independent arbitrators and monitors? I mean,
How
it's
much
gotten to
do
that
us
stage in their relationship.
8 random people
Actually,
love
Phil and Antonio are very good at resolving
Dan and
bets.
I were talking about earlier.
I'm not really
Very
liking
good
it
at
so
all
much
that.
right now.
How
But
much fun it
the
is.
arbitrator, the person that is always in on arbitrators is actually Sorel
Oh, wait,
Mizzi.
I'm like,
Mizzi needs an arbitrator for every bet he's involved in.
How are you at 340?
Yeah, Vanessa's going for a
fantastic
3-bet here. She's tired of flatting and
strong
getting
flop call.
outplayed and
Raised to
tough out of position, so
36,000.
she's decided to take a stand. Antonio's open to every button.
Yeah,
But see, this is why I like.
She has a hand that's a little too weak for her to call.
Right.
Like you're saying. So it's one of those. Well, maybe I'll get some value out of my 3 betting. And she went for a pretty fat size.
Right, and that's Scott Seiver does this too, which I like. He makes it over 3 times. It's not like these cute, one min-click backs or like 2.5. So I mean, it goes for like, listen, if you have a real hand, I'll know about it. If not, get your queen jacks and ace 10s out of here.
Mitzi, think of a good question for Vanessa.
I have one.
Okay, good.
We're going to see.
I just gotta go puke real
game.
fast. Give me a
Don't you
sec.
feel like that? She's here to play.
Yeah.
To really play.
Antonio's got, you know what? Antonio he knows the dynamic, he knows the points, he knows everything. He may raise all in, he may, or not all in, but he may click this back. This would be like full run over. He has he will have the Mizzi dynamic. He makes his play. He's just, this is huge, and he knows it. He knows he can literally take full control.
Yeah, I mean, if Antonio clicks it back here and makes it like 90,000, then, I mean, Vanessa needs to have a real hand.
He can make it like 75 or 74.
I'm ready.
Doesn't even have to go that big. Like, it doesn't matter. Vanessa's just getting out unless
4 bets
she
better
has
than peel.
How did I hit that gutter
He
ball?
can't peel.
With a size this big.
Jungle?
and
What
his
kind of
hand,
astral?
Jack
He's
10
never
off 6.
calling ever.
Alpha Mike.
He might raise. I think he might. He wants to.
That gutter ball come out of the universe.
Because Antonio has the chip lead,
you know, his energy feels foldy to me right now, but we'll see.
It feels he knows exactly what it means if he gets this through. He knows this is a moment. This is a big moment for Vanessa too, for her Premier League.
Is there ever the slight problem when you're facing Vanessa Selbst is that when she makes 3 bets, she's actually willing to jam as well?
Look at Antonio. Look at
Suicidal,
Antonio.
but
He does the chip dancing. He gets the reads off. Like even the greatest players, Vanessa, they give off energy when you do that. He's peripheral. He's looking at her. He's trying to figure it out. And I mean, Vanessa, if you're Vanessa, you hate it. You have 6 high. You need the points. You know you get eaten here. Like.
I don't know.
I mean, that was big. Wow. That was big for both players. I mean, Antonio's, in his mind, he decided, you know what, I'm going to be able to pick up so many of these little pots. I have 600. I don't need to do it. That would have been super impressed if he had done it, but I know why he didn't.
No, I think Colman's actually most likely to go up for it.
It's a spot where
a lot of watermelon.
There's a lot of those spots come up. You're like, well, this would be a great spot to 4-bet. But the flip side is, he puts an 80K and folds. You know, and Vanessa. Sure, she has a reputation of being an aggressive player than 3-bet. She also hasn't really been super active. You know, not just today, but yesterday. I mean, she's kind of played a little straight-laced.
We need another one.
Tried to been super active pre-flop, so he gave her some credit, but he definitely was suspicious. Very suspicious.
That there is Jonathan Duhamel's mom. Come in to watch her son play. Of course, she's seen him in some high-pressure spots before. Probably the final table of the World Series of Poker. He's local.
Like 3 to 4K. And
I was thinking,
look at Phil. Look at how for this guy. It's back to 340. He was out the door.
Yeah, just not knowing. You know, he just walks in, buys something, and doesn't never even knew how much it was. Like he doesn't even ask for the price, and who knows? You know, smart salesman gave him the 4K suit.
You got Jungleman and Duhamel.
I realize that now. I'm just saying what I thought.
Kind of a cool customer.
I'm a huge fan of all these kind of things.
Oh yeah.
I don't just buy clothes, especially because I have no wardrobe.
All right, next question.
Seiver with 9,000.
Vanessa seems to very much not want to be the brain.
I give you the brain.
Oh, you don't mind after
Yeah,
that? Okay.
I like it.
Jungleman just said, I'm just not buying clothes randomly. I live out of my suitcase. That's what he just said. You know? He doesn't have a place to
non sequiturs. I'm never quite sure what he means. Living out of your suitcase somehow means
he actually said, I don't own a wardrobe, is what he said.
Yeah, so here Mizzi has the Jack 8 suited, but you would see him folding the Jack 8 off to Seiver.
Yeah, I agree with that. Oh.
And hello.
Wow, open-ended straight flush draw.
So Scott Seiver is the guy.
Mizzi is checking to check raise, but it did not happen.
Seiver's good. Seiver's just good.
Seiver, we saw Seiver very comfortably check the ace king the other day versus Jason Kuhn, and then fold when the jack hit, and Jason made his jack 10 on the river. And I mean, he knows he's not trying to play a big pot with ace king, especially on a board like that.
Yeah. So that's a pretty big bet. Seiver's going to
17,000.
It's down to 35 big blinds, but he's a guy who knows how to work them.
Okay, so Mizzi, what's your question?
And now, if Seiver had more chips, he could even continue there if he had a lot, you know, because like the board does look kind of drawy and him calling out of the blinds, but like with his stack, it's just nothing he can really do. He's just gonna give it up.
Duhamel would have to get paid.
Brian, it looks like Laden thinks is going to break out all over the place. You want to just kind of explain succinctly exactly what Laden thinks is, because some people might not.
So Laden thinks is a game that I believe Antonio created based on there's a European player called Johnny Laden, who's a famous kind of for Europe high-stakes player.
He was the Jungleman before there was a Jungleman.
Yeah, the Jungleman like 5, 6 years ago. So it started, they asked him a question, and he'd have to think of the answer to the question and like write it down.
You'll sit out, but then you'll slide that
anyway. It's like a number. And then whoever's playing starts a bidding auction that goes around in a circle until someone bids, and you resolve the bet based on what the person thinks. But if there's other people in that circle, then the other people get to decide which side of the line they're on, and then you resolve the bet.
Mizzi's going for a 3-bet, knowing the point dynamic. Like he's been super quiet, and here he comes with the 10-6 suited, knowing everything. I love this.
Now the question, Vanessa has some chips. She has 400,000. So, you know, let's see how she decides to react. Oh,
I can't imagine Jungle flatting. He might. This is like
Jungleman, this is a great
jamming.
shove spot, actually.
Perfect spot. He's got
150K. Mizzi could be light, and you know, it's not the end of the world if he goes out. Obviously, it won't be.
Wow, he decides against it, and now Vanessa has an awkward spot where she knows Mizzi's capable, but
ace 10, ace 10, ace 4.
There's no aces.
Vanessa's one of those 2-4 people, isn't she? Where she will open intending to 4-bet if she gets 3-bet sometimes.
I mean, I know in a regular tournament that's definitely true. Now in this tournament, like we said, there's all these kind of strategic considerations. But
if she flats, she's gonna have a really hard time winning this because there are no aces and there's no 10s for that matter. Jungleman folded ace 10 and Mizzi, you know, he's got the position. Yeah, there's no
1
10.
ace and 1 10 in the deck as far, you know, from what we've seen.
Right, unless it comes 10 high, 10 deuce deuce. I doubt this is gonna be.
And that was I'll send the message. Sorel sending the message that he has, or he's sending it right now. I've got 21 points and you've got 6.
Yeah, and
that's the message he sent.
Yeah, she's gonna call her 4-bet, and she's just deciding, you know what? I came in, I was gonna raise. I don't want to get a sticky spot.
Well, Mizzi got that through. You know what? I think if I'm the Jungleman there with the ace 10 suited, I think I should begin and see what happens. Here's the thing, and I've really talked about this. Once you kind of become the low man, there's not that much waiting. And now, to be fair, you know, Seiver and Duhamel both don't have a lot of chips, but I mean that was a great opportunity for Jungleman to pick up like 40 or 50,000 or whatever was in that pot. And honestly, it's going to get through a decent amount. I mean, this is a spot where Mizzi is in position, kind of deep stack for Selbst, will be light there pretty regularly. And when you get called, I mean, ace 10 suited has decent equity against Mizzi's range.
I agree with everything you're saying, other than, guess what? Mizzi has played super solid. Like, it is a great spot, but like, it's a sit and go format, and Mizzi hasn't been out of line at all. That's kind of going like a Colman style, maybe my style. Like, if I 3-bet or he 3-bets, you're going to give some credit, you know? And like, normally he might pile it in, but he decided against it.
At the end of the day, Brian, I mean, Jungleman, this is not his game. He's not a tournament player. He's not a 30 big blind player. I mean, like, you know what I mean? It's just not. I don't even know if that stuff does it. I mean,
he saw him think about it. He knew about it. He knew it. He thought it was right. His instinct was to do it.
Wow, we got Mizzi in the tank already.
I'm in the tank. $421.
Comes up with a bigger number.
Is this a 4-bet or you just calling?
422.
This looks like a.
No, we have to put a minimum for like 5 days.
See, again, these are like the spots where Antonio's picking on him. He's got a medium, just not. He's like a bluffing hand. He's got the blocker with the ace, and Phil though, sure enough, it's the best hand with the ace 7. And Phil's calling out of position with just a hand that's not going to connect very much.
So Laak opened this to 9, Esfandiari 3-bet to 21, and Phil's peeled it.
And it's hard to make a pair. It's hard to hit connect, and Phil has not. Another really nice spot for Antonio.
Yeah, very nice spot for Antonio.
It's really exactly what you were saying before, Brian, that Antonio, he sees the spots. You know, he's just sending that message. I've got 600,000. You're low pointed. I mean,
I don't know really. I can't. Phil's plays a little indefensible and insane. I mean, calling Queen 7
$27,500
out of position is like kind of hopeless.
It's hopeless. If he goes for a check raise, I'm just.
If he goes for a check raise, then at least he'll have had a plan. But I mean, this is kind of a board. It's not very believable. I mean, what does he have?
Yeah, even like Antonio knows Phil, if he has 5s or 3s or 8s or 7s, he's probably not check raising. So like, Phil sometimes I don't know. I don't know what he's repping, and I don't think anyone knows. So that makes it tough a little bit. But like,
so if he's gonna bluff, he really needs to just call this and try and represent something a little on different streets.
Yeah, I think
it's got to be a
the problem with Phil is even if he calls it, it's going to be hard for him to sell a story that he's value betting later.
I think he's going to fold.
So, but Phil's just a sick one.
He's going to fold.
I mean, we've already seen Phil have a willingness to try to bluff in just about any spot. I mean, 4-betting the 4-6 suited, you know, shoving the deuce 5, which made sense, but just a lot of hands. Phil's just willing to try weird things, even if it doesn't make sense. So here it is. Weird, it doesn't make sense. Okay, he's out.
It was just a bad board for it.
What is that? He doesn't practice. He's wondering if that would have worked. See? He throws it out like, this is what I wanted to do.
I'll say 499.
I checked the bet. That's what I'm supposed to do instead of folding, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for giving me the 500.
Kate's going to say no.
Probably not, actually. I didn't know if you had
I told you Kate would say no.
I'll say 505.
How much should I lose there? 55,000 or
530.
550.
Oh, Jeff Gross is loved for almost 2 years.
I should have taught yourself
So
lesson.
over
I
here,
should have
Brian,
been check
on how long
raising
this will go tonight, or what? How many hands do you think?
9,000.
I don't know. I'd have to.
It's early. There's really not been a lot of.
I'd have to look at the sheet and see, because it's hard for me to blinds. I'd have to look and see what I think the blinds will end at, and see where that is on the hand number. So
Seiver's got a massive problem here, which is that if he gets knocked out first, he's going to miss all the money-making opportunities with these Laden thinks idiots.
Yeah, that's got to weigh in everyone's
he's thinking
equation.
about it.
Oh, hello.
Jungleman has aces. Now, there was a hand on day one where Jungleman just flatted with aces out of the blind.
Exactly.
Little does he know that
I think he's going to flat.
The best play is to do that here.
Well,
I think
is
he's
it to the
flat.
under-the-gun raise? I mean,
Okay.
isn't that amazing? Because the under-the-gun raise by Seiver right now should be so strong.
Do you know why he's flatting?
Yeah.
Because he knows Seiver needs points, and he knows that if he raises it so strong, he does not want to lose Seiver. That's why he's not raising.
And also, I mean, Seiver's needs only a couple hands here. If Seiver has any kind of hand like what Seiver has, he's just going to fold to it.
This is actually a bad flop for Jungle's hand, because Seiver is going to be cautious, and also this is like a Jungleman kind of board, and it's a little scary. Like, I don't know. I don't think he's going to get Seiver to go too crazy here.
Yeah, the question now is what Jungleman does exactly, whether he raises or calls.
I think he's going to raise just because there's so many scare cards, like even just for to kill his own action. Not that he necessarily thinks he's not worried about Seiver like having, unless Seiver has sevens, eights, sevens or eights. There's really no hand in Seiver's under the gun range that he's like worried about.
Yeah,
so he's going to raise.
We raised all in.
And just unfortunately he doesn't have a hand. If he has like two tens or jacks, he might give him a call, but.
740.
Quite clever, though. I mean, if Seiver did have tens or jacks, he was going to have a tough little decision.
Yes,
there,
for sure.
wasn't
And he definitely would have called. I think he would have called jacks. Tens tough.
Blind.
Yeah, it's the reason he does that exactly too, because of that reason. And if a queen or king comes and he has nines, tens, or jacks, kills his action. If a 7 or a 3 comes, he's scared. If Jungle's flatting so wide in the blind. So I like that by Jungle and just.
Yeah, also Jungleman has shown he very much likes to balance his ranges, and so in a spot, Seiver's opening under the gun with, Jungleman is just not going to be 3-betting much there, so he's probably not 3-betting any hands.
Very much, if you consider religion the same as very much. I mean, it's what he subscribes to, isn't it? I mean, he's like
11-10.
Ooh, this could be a. This is curious. I'm curious what Phil does here. I think it's almost too good for him to fold, but he might. No, it's just too good.
11,000 fold.
Who's going to back? Who's going to be the first one to let the music stop? Is it going to be Seiver? Is it going to be Dan Colman? Is it going to be Mizzi or Jungleman?
What are we on?
He went under, so 11-15 over or under.
Phil just going to leave right out.
10,000.
He's going to get a call, at least.
I'll go under.
A king would be disastrous.
Yeah, that would be a terrible card.
I was just trying to get one more through.
Dan, I'll bet.
I was afraid he was going to lie.
I was just trying to get one more through.
Disaster for Vanessa.
Because I thought Dan would never buy in a million years. Dan thinks the number's like 4,000, which is why I thought you would realize that, Antonio. Right, Dan? I'm right, right? See? Dan brought the number
How many options does Vanessa have?
Antonio, I thought you were on the same path.
This is bad. This is bad for
Antonio,
Vanessa.
that's
She
so
really
fishy.
can't get paid big here, no matter what. Like if a king comes, she's gonna lose a big pot. If a 9 comes, she's not gonna get.
That's a bad card for Vanessa. I mean, total blank. None of the draws got there.
And that's why Phil's check.
I love Phil's line here. He leads and then checks. I like this. Against Vanessa, I really like this. You show a little. She didn't bite. She did not bite.
It's a good line.
Antonio,
I think I would have liked betting again.
We could have gotten a number of 1,000 more. I only got stuck because I have a huge fish on my direct left. I screwed it up for me and Sorel.
Check.
Could go check.
I was buying next one. was buying on that.
What he would go another 1,000?
I'm scared of Daniel.
Why would you call
Oh, you're
8-10 misses, 6-5,
Check.
all the straights.
He doesn't
I thought he was going on. He bid by 5. He was going 100, 150, and then 5.
I'd also feel over with
If he's sure she has an ace,
Well, I don't want to
The
side
thing
bet
is,
on this.
Vanessa called the
You were
flop.
going to go up.
The turn card changed
You would
nothing.
have gone up to like 2,000.
welcome back to Premier League Poker in Montreal. It may be snowing and -10 outside the Playground Poker Club, but inside, our players are a warm and friendly bunch who love to gamble amongst each other.
The Premier League tournament is great because all the players are good friends. We're having fun at the table, telling jokes, gambling.
All right, how much Vanessa thinks Phil Laak would have to get paid to change his name to Huckleberry?
I just love to punish people. I love to punish my friends.
How many people in this room right now would know who Jungleman, like the name, if you said Jungleman, they could tell you Dan Cakes?
When poker players hang out, they're just gamble. They can't help themselves, myself included.
There's a never-ending staircase. How many stairs would Phil have to run up before he just stopped and like dropped dead?
I don't like these questions.
How many days in jail Vanessa thinks Phil would spend to save Jeff Gross from life in jail?
40 days.
3 months.
I'll say 420.
11-10.
11-15 over or under.
I'll take over.
I'll go under.
All right, are we ready for the number?
1550?
Yes! Sorel, you guys deserve to lose because Antonio's such a huge fish there.
Big difference.
He also chose under. So those three lost, so that's $600 that was lost, and then it's split between the winners. We're the two winners. So we make 300 each.
How many days?
Big one. So, Vanessa, your brain is not doing
Vanessa. Vanessa's getting a lot of decent hands here.
Would it really do?
That's a personal question, and obviously it's a lot. And Antonio did bring some interesting things to light. Like there is danger, possibly.
There is danger. Big danger.
I'd go to bat for you, JG.
I think you would too.
I love you, JG.
I thought 4 years. I thought 4 years.
Stuff to do. Stuff to do.
To protect him.
Someone has to.
I have to make sure he has
Also,
the best
It
life.
also depends on what he did to go to prison. He's innocent going to prison, that makes a difference.
Phil's lived a great life.
We're assuming wrong. He's substituting in.
11,000.
No, Phil has a good enough stack here where he's stopping the call. He's going to avoid some big trouble here.
No, it's JG. It's JG.
Definitely the right move. I mean, he doesn't want to make the same mistake he made in all those other heats, which was to turn these pocket pairs into a bluff.
Write it down.
Here's the next question.
I did not fish that one.
JG, feel free still to critique my game. And know that I love you either way. I'll put time in jail for JG.
Wow. Pretty good flop for Vanessa. I mean, Phil's definitely going to still like his nines.
Well, and we see Jungleman follow the 9, right? So it's going to be unlikely for that to come. But
Vanessa, so I
This is
expect Vanessa to bet for value here.
I think she's going to.
No, I don't like how much to be paid.
She checks. So if she's checking there, there's a few reasons. First is maybe to let Phil hang himself. Also to avoid Phil doing something crazy like raising, and she just doesn't want to play a huge pot.
She's going to get 2 streets, I think, no matter how she plays this.
By the way, this is part of the reason why sometimes being crazy like Phil pays off. I mean, people play a lot of hands for pot control and whatever because they just don't. They're afraid you're going to do something nuts, and if they don't have a really good hand, they don't want to deal with it.
Phil's going to have to bet just out of principle.
And this is also sort of the same dynamics as that ace-king hand. I mean, slightly different, but that she's just letting Phil hang himself, if he will.
Hey, to what?
Enter the main event for the World Series of Poker. No? No money questions?
Scott knows the actual number.
No, I was I think I have a decent edge because I bet I probably have a good idea of what Vanessa thinks that is. I think that would be unfair for me, so I don't want that. How about this?
16,500.
I mean, Vanessa's played
you
this so soft. I mean,
wait, so you can't
isn't Phil
understand when people talk French either, John?
convinced he has the best hand, and if it blanks out, that he's going to be trying to get her to call him with like almost ace high? I mean,
I think she is. Vanessa is going for a raise, it looks like, which is I kind of like this play. I mean, I think Vanessa's decided she has the best hand a lot, and she's going to go for a little extra value. So the question now is, what does Phil think about it? Is he going to...
Feels like he's folding, which is interesting.
So this might be bad poker.
He had 9.
How should he think about it?
Yeah.
Wow, what a
fold.
fold.
Got a shot.
Oh, great fold by Phil.
Oh, you can take the careful line there.
She's going to be upset when she
Yeah,
hears
tax
this because
preservation.
she would have expected to win more money.
Well, now it's interesting because Phil just doesn't want to say that he showed once. She's saying that showed.
Of course Vanessa would be upset because if Phil folded the next worst hand, because I mean, if Phil folding nines, that's the next hand below her on the hand chart. So essentially, I mean, basically, she turned her hand into a bluff. You know, if he's folding nines, Phil almost never has queens, kings, or aces because he's 3-bet. So, you know, if he had aces maybe or a 10, 3 10s, he's never folding. So essentially, she turned her hand into a bluff.
With that being said, though, I'm
maybe
surprised Phil did fold nines, and she can't expect him to fold 7s or 9s, I don't think.
No, I'm not necessarily saying her play was bad. I'm just saying that it's one of these things when you get to see hands, it's very interesting because you kind of get to see, you know, she went for a very interesting and creative play. But sometimes when you do the fancy play syndrome plays, they, you know, they don't work out. If Vanessa had just bet her hand, she would have gotten 2 streets of value. You agree?
Yeah. No,
she had bet flop, bet turn. She gets called twice. Bet flop, check bet.
Check,
right.
or whatever. She's getting. I thought she'd get 2 streets.
The more
she
interesting
costs herself
thing
a street
is,
of value.
well, as interesting is that she's just found out that she has a bad perception of Phil, and worse than that is he let her know it. You know, I mean, it's huge for him that people make bad plays. He's actually got them in a spot where they're making bad plays against him. Why let them know it?
Yeah, here's Mizzi going for a light open under the gun.
You know, he's got them.
People kind of make bad plays just because of Phil's zaniness.
Check. And that's a good thing for him.
So
that's a great thing for him, isn't it?
This is an interesting spot. Mizzi opened under the gun. Vanessa now with the ace-8 off is in a little bit of a...
I don't love her defend with ace-8 off.
13,500.
And she's probably saying, mate, why am I playing this? She might raise. Is that, I don't know.
Yeah, all right.
Raise to 39,000.
I love the way she plays.
I mean, you know what? Mizzi is going to peel this probably. Because here's the thing. The raise isn't that big, and he has a gutter to the nuts, backdoor clubs.
This is really hard for Vanessa to shell off depending on what turns come here, too. Like,
yeah, this is going to be tough.
So her plan should be to shut it down a lot of times?
Well,
now she can shut it down because she's got an ace.
She actually could end up winning a pot here. Like, there's a chance that Mizzi...
I think it's reasonable for her to eat. It depends on what she thinks of Mizzi. If she thinks Mizzi's really a stationy, then I bet here every time.
Check.
Why has she checked? What's in her mind? That she can let him hang himself and he should think he can represent the ace, or that she's a little bit worried about that he may have a monster.
This is a pot control play.
Also, there is a chance, like, there are a few aces that hit his range, which are the suited ace, ace jack, ace queen, ace kings. She may call and this could go check on the river.
Wow,
68,000.
I mean, that implies stacks on the river. That implies stacks on the river.
It implies it, but I mean, here's the thing: with top pair here and a gutter, and you know, there's a few floaty hands like the one Mizzi has. There's some heart draw hands. I mean, I like the way Mizzi's played this hand. It makes a lot of sense to me, but unfortunately, this was a very bad card for him, and I just don't see Vanessa folding.
Call 68,000.
Yeah, I mean,
she's gutsy though. This is a gutsy call by her, right? I mean, no,
sort of.
She has
I think it's sort of standard, to be honest, but given the way the hand's been played.
Yeah.
So, I mean, part of the reason why you check there is pot control in order to call. Wow. Now, by the way, this could have been the card that Vanessa loses. This is a great bluff card for Mizzi. So, it's honestly hard to put Selbst on a heart draw. He almost, in my opinion, it would be bad not to bluff this card.
I mean, actually, the bagel for Sorel, he still probably makes the final table.
It's very difficult for her to have a flush here.
Check.
He didn't.
Oh!
He didn't do it.
He's shocked by her hand now, too. Huge pot for Vanessa.
Yeah, I mean, that's a spot to bluff.
I hadn't decided about that river yet. I thought she had like 7-8 or something like that.
Why did Mizzi knuckle it? It's kept Vanessa in the game
Queen
for
of hearts
sure.
made it easier to call it. Shot.
2 levels, and Selbst will use those chips, won't she?
Yeah. Vanessa, I mean, she just showed in that pot that she's very willing to mix it up now that she has chips. I mean, defended
Antonio would sign
very questionable
like
defend with
day
ace
1
8,
of
but
the main event.
But I mean, check raised with ace high and you know, called a big bet on the turn. So Vanessa's
saying like, who wants my autograph?
No, he wasn't asking. He was just passively. You don't like it?
This heat is just, it's the dead middle. It's really, like after this heat, everything's going to be pretty clear what's going on. So it'll be interesting to see if it flattens out or if people separate. And that really depends on how Mizzi and Colman finish and how Phil and Vanessa finish. I mean, depending on if they go 1, 2, 3, the bottom stack, the bottom point leaders, or the top do. So it's either going to flatten out or be wide open here.
Antonio has now opened 2 of the first 3 hands in this 3 and 6,000 level. Definitely opening up his game. King 9 suited, you probably go either way in his position. So he's opening up. He's widening his range here.
No, I think this is a pretty standard open for Antonio with his chips. I think if he was more in middle of the pack, he would not open this. But I think with being the chip leader and well over 600K, I would expect Antonio, with how aggressive he is pre-flop, to be opening this. So this is kind of part of what makes him as aggressive as he is. Now Laak, with kind of the best hand here, given that he has a heart, even though it's only jack high to king high. I mean, he actually has something that that feels valuable. Antonio has 2 spades in his hand, so
bet 17,000.
He's kind of betting here just to try to take it down. But my guess is Laak is not going to just fold, but you never know.
Yeah, I mean, Laak's in a spot right now where he's playing a pot. There were a lot of reasons, maybe, where he just should not be playing pots right now. But he's decided to play one, and now he's got to.
I mean, these are the hands I just like avoiding. Jack 10 off, like not a lot,
with
unless
his
you hit the
chips and
straight
everything.
or open-ended. Like even here, he hits his heart. He doesn't know where he's at. It's gonna be hard to really get value. It's like he's gonna hit and buckle up and hope to win.
Which is a reason not to defend with it. But we had speculated if Laak was going to start playing tight or not, and I guess the answer is no.
No. The answer is no, not even a little. He's thinking about raising, which actually, I mean, if anything,
raising's not a bad play.
I don't hate it at all. I think calling's actually the weakest. I think calling is the weakest.
The idea is that if he had to fold that hand on the flop, that maybe he shouldn't have called in the first place.
Who's better than Phil Laak?
I bet you Jungle would have check raised
So
that.
Esfandiari continues to dominate this heat, and the trials and tribulations of Phil Laak have somehow left him in 3rd place. Seiver, Duhamel, and Cates have all got work to do if they're going to significantly add to their points total.
Join us next time here at the Party Poker Premier League when Heat 4 continues at the Playground Poker Club in Montreal.
Oh, I play bad.
I don't have heart.
Probably play so bad.
I understand that you understand.
Play bad, get lucky.
So now it's a whole nother level.
Very strange, Vanessa. Very strange.